Welcome to the Made in Monroe podcast. Today I've got Laura Kilpatrick Marchelos with us of Kilpatrick Funeral Homes. Laura, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Gosh, what an honor to be in this beautiful facility and visit with you.
Well, thank you. I was thinking about us sitting down today, and it really does feel like I'm sitting down with just a family friend that I've known for a long time, but really don't know a lot of your story and how you got to where you are today. And so I would love for you to kind of start with how Kilpatrick Funeral Homes came to be, and then kind of how you got to where you are today.
Kilpatrick's was started in Formerville, Louisiana, Union Parish in 1927 by my grandfather. And early on, my uncle and my father were involved with the funeral home. And so they, over the course of the years, opened up different locations in Union Parish and Lincoln Parish and Washita Parish. So we have 4 locations, and it has evolved to quite an enterprise of cemetery and funeral homes with the direction of my uncle, K.D. Kilpatrick and Tex. And so I was really trained by the best and learned from them, learned from my father in particularly. And we also have 2 perpetual care cemeteries, which in a nutshell, it means that I do have a governing board for perpetual care, or privately owned, one in West Monroe and one in Ruston as well. And so my personal history is I graduate, I'm a ULM, NLU graduate.
Like it.
That'll show the age. Graduated with a degree in home economics and some marketing, and knew that I wanted to go to Parsons in New York, and finished up my education there. So I have a 4-year degree from Northeast, ULM, and Parsons, and lived there for about 13 years. Met my husband, had my son, and 9/11 happened and brought us home. Brought us home to learn the family business. My husband, Zach, happened to have quite a few business acquaintances. He was an engineer for Reuters, and knew quite a few people that passed away that day. Yeah. And it just changed our perspective on what life was about. So we thought about it. We thought about other cities before Monroe. Really and truthfully, we thought about his career, which is in engineering and computers, and thought about what my family business. And we thought about it, prayed about it, and said, I think it may be an opportunity to come to Monroe and raise our son. And it's a wonderful town to be. Never looked back. Enjoyed my years in New York. Sowed my oats, so to speak, a little bit, and just really made a wonderful, fantastic decision for ourselves, and I think for our community, and to be here to offer funeral services at the level that we do.
Well, I think it's something that's needed in the community, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. A lot of people don't realize, you have 2 years to plan a wedding, 9 months to plan a birth, and you have approximately 72 hours to plan a very significant event in someone's life. And we have a staff, very seasoned staff that trained us, and we've trained them. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, and I live by that motto. You just have to know that the funeral homes begin quite a bit of the end of life. A lot of people don't realize that we're the first ones to notify Social Security and life insurance companies, and maybe the veterans. There's quite a bit that goes in to end of life services and paperwork. I mean, it is. So yes, it is a business that is very, very needed.
When I think, coming from a family that's done it for so many years, you really understand all that goes into it. And so I've kind of had the honor of watching you both from afar and up close recently. And so, I think it takes somebody that has such a warm heart and a care. You've got empathy in those moments. You're really dealing with people that are walking through really tragedy a lot of time, but some of the hardest moments of their lives. And you guys come in, and really you're the first ones that they encounter right after. And so what kind of led you to have a passion for that? I mean, obviously you grew up around it, but every person's different in why they choose to do it or have the passion that they do for it. So what kind of fuels that fire for you?
I think a love of people and a love of people taking care of them at a time that really really is not an easy situation, whether it's been unexpected or expected. And, you know, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many I handle that are expected deaths or unexpected deaths. You feel the same way. There's a loss, you know, right there, and you've never had that loss until that moment. And you can't, I guess I always say to people, I could never be a nurse.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. The nurses and hospice nurses, they're what they do is breathless. What they do is breathless.
They have a gift, a true gift.
Oh, they have that. They have a gift, which I do not have as a funeral director. My gift is helping, you know, the families that are now the people that are making those decisions for those services, and it's challenging at times because you do and are close to people, and I certainly am close to quite a few people in this community, and you just have to really rise above it and get those emotions kind of in check, and know that what you're doing is very, very important for not only that individual who has passed away, but also for maybe that spouse, that brother, that sister, that grandmother, you know, that are really struggling to understand what happened to them. And it can be challenging, but you just have to really know and educate your staff. I do quite a bit of education for our staff in terms of grief resources and how to handle different deaths and when and how to approach people appropriately when we actually hear of the death and they make that initial appointment to come in. You just really have to be on your game and understand that what your day may be like at your own home is far better than what those individuals that are coming to see us. I tell my staff all the time, they have to see us. They don't want to see us.
Yeah.
They don't want to be at the funeral home.
Yeah. that is true. I've never thought about it that way.
Like, you know, so if they're going to have to be with us, we are going to make it as easy and calm and professional as we are morally obligated, I guess. More, you know, financially obligated, obviously, but morally, you know, in your heart, and really let them know that you may not know them, but you know you've walked in their shoes at some point in their life.
Well, I feel like you guys navigate it beautifully, and you make it really easy when people go in. So, you know, some of the hard decisions that you have to make, I feel like you guys have it narrowed down, and it's very easy. You go in, and there's a few options, and you choose one, and you walk us through the paperwork and everything that has to be done, and you really take the hard part off of the family and kind of take that burden off of them. It seems like to me.
Yes. Well, you have to. I mean, it's not. There's you know, funeral industry, like any industry, changes and different options become available, and you know, challenge my staff all the time. Bring me ideas. Tell me what I'm missing. What's been working? What's not been working? Are we really our Facebook or our you know, who thought Facebook would be something that the funeral industry would ever use, but it's an incredible resource. You know, I'm extremely receptive to ideas that would be beneficial for families or things that families are requesting. Right. I mean, having the services online and doing all of that COVID caused us to do. We were prepared to do that. So yes, you just have to be, you know, prepared. It used to be just having a funeral service. Now it's a celebration of someone's life. So even those little terms
change your lingo.
Even those little things have very monumental meaning and very monumental change in an industry that nobody really wants to have to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Your services are not something that you want to have, but they're necessary whenever the time comes. And
I also encourage families to sit down and prearrange, talk about it. You know, it's one thing to pay for it up front, which is very good to do, but it's also very important to know what those wishes are before you ever have to really be forced to make them. You know, even if it's just hey guys, I know this is morbid, you know, but let's just sit around and talk about what maybe we would want for our grandmother or our grandfather, you know, or our father, or, you know, if something happened. So there's so many to make, and it's really hard to make them right right then and there.
Right. Well, and it makes sense to have those made before. It would make the process so much easier.
So much easier.
Well, it's just decisions that are already made, right? You don't have to think about them whenever you're walking through it.
Correct. And they can be simply written down on a spiral notebook or a recipe card.
A napkin. Whatever it needs to be.
Whatever it needs to be. Yeah, for sure. For
So
sure.
you and I were talking last week a little bit, and one of the things I did not realize is that Kilpatrick Funeral Homes was like one of the top 4, correct me if I'm wrong, in the country.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that.
We're members of the National Funeral Directors Association, and it is called the best of the best. And what it ends up being is pushing my staff for more education, different classes, whether it be grief, whether it be restoration in the preparation room, whatever it may be. So you submit your resume, so to speak, about things that you do within your community, whether it be supporting veterans, supporting all different senior centers, and in which we do quite a bit of outreach and quite a bit of support for veterans, and maybe veterans breakfasts or Thanksgiving dinners or hot dogs on Memorial Day. And so we were one of the top 4 and ranked in the United States. And you can go online and read about it and really delves into the detail of it. But we have stayed in that program have been in that program, the best of the best, probably for the better part of 25 years. Goodness. Just because it forces me and our staff, our team, to go that extra level. That's not necessarily needed, but I want it. But I want it, and for the families that graciously ask us to serve their family. It is a humbling experience to take care of somebody's loved one. It truly, truly is. And if any of us ever felt different, I'd say it's time to do something else. You know, and because that's a very, very difficult decision to know that your family member has died, and you now have to bury and choose a funeral home. And I'm grateful every time somebody asks me.
Well, you guys, you really do a wonderful job.
Thank you.
And your
Thank
staff
you.
does a wonderful job.
Yeah.
I think that trickles down from the top, though. I think you lead well, and I think you invest in them, and it shows.
Yeah. And same for you as well. You have to invest in the people that you allow to carry your name and your reputation. I mean, I learned from the best, which are my parents, Carol and Tex, and I can't emphasize that enough about how important it is to remember what you're doing and who you do it for. And that goes with any business. It really does.
And I think we've been fortunate enough to have parents that are wonderful that we get to learn from, right? Because not everybody has that. And so to be able to learn and to be able to carry on the family business, I think is something that is just, it's really neat to me. To watch the generational legacies that are left,
and to be honored to do it. I'm grateful.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful to be able to have been in the position to take on what my father and my uncle and my mother and my aunt built. I mean, I'm very grateful.
Well,
a lot of gratitude
so hard for. They worked so hard to get it to where it is.
Yeah, they did. It was not, back in the 20s and 30s and 40s. I'm sure it was not a very easy road to hoe, especially being married and have small children of their own.
Absolutely.
In that time it wasn't, but they worked really hard.
Now you get to work really hard.
I get work. Yes, I do. But I love it.
You love it.
I love it. I know that may sound morbid.
It's not really work.
No, one of those sayings, if you don't think you go to work every day, it's not a job. I mean, it's just part of your makeup. And I really do wake up and feel that way. Every time I'm able to get up and check my messages, like we talked about earlier, and go forward and take care of families.
Well, you're able to give back, and I think it, giving to me does something for us as well.
Oh, yes,
you're doing it for the other person, but in turn you receive so much from that, and so. To be able to do that every day, I can't imagine just how satisfying, how humbling, but satisfying it also
humbling
is.
And satisfying. Humbling and very satisfying, but probably humbling more than satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it is very, very trying. Very, very trying sometimes, and you have to really negotiate emotions
manage emotions.
Manage the emotions, not only for yourself, but help those individuals make decisions that are not rash and that are not quick. Just because we're on a time frame,
Right.
we don't have to make them feel that way.
Right.
And we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to let them breathe and process the decisions that they have to make, and give them opportunities.
Yeah.
To make them in a timely manner, and an educated manner as well.
So what does the future of Kilpatrick Funeral Homes look like?
Continue to serving families, continuing to serve this community that has blessed us beyond measure. I'm so excited about the growth of Monroe and the things that are coming. I have a son that's at Tech, he's a junior, and going into his little life. I'm anxious for him to stay and work here in Northeast Louisiana. So excited about what's going forward, and everything that my mother told me the other day, my sweet precious mother, 88, we went down to the Hotel Monroe.
Aww.
And she said, I just never thought in my lifetime
Wow.
I would see this circle.
Wow.
And that meant a lot to hear her say that. And she was like, I used to come down here and go to the palace, and now I get to come down here and eat in a beautiful restaurant. So, those things are important.
They are.
History is important. And the history of what Kilpatrick has done in this community, I hope to continue and make better,
I love
in whatever way that it evolves.
Right.
And just to continue to be here and serve families in the manner that they've allowed me to.
And you've had an interesting journey in New York, or from here in New York back here. You really could be anywhere in the country or the world doing what you're doing, but you chose to come back, to plant roots here, to have a family here.
Yes.
What is the why behind that? I know family business, but
yeah, I would have to answer that in probably a very succinct manner. I love the fact that when I first moved back with my 3-month-old son, and you've been there, that I could get in the car and be anywhere he needed me within minutes, with people I trust, people I know. The hometownness of Monroe, you cannot beat it.
Yeah.
You cannot. And I've lived in a big city, and my husband, believe it or not, was from a small city in New York.
Wow.
So there was no discussion about, what Monroe didn't have to offer. It was, let me tell you what Monroe has to offer.
Yes.
And to be able to do that, and have good schools, public and private, and be able to just be with my family and work with my father and my mom, and really be around other family members was important, was very important. Yeah. And that's probably why, but there was really not a hard tug to come anywhere else.
Yeah. I feel like Monroe is one of those places, even if you move,
we got a gym.
It somehow just pulls you back in, right? Like you can be gone for 10 years, but you're going to end up back here.
I have to say that even when I lived in New York, at least twice a week I ran into somebody from Monroe.
It's the center of the universe.
It's the center of the universe. Well, that's what I think.
Yes, I agree. I was in Mexico a couple weeks ago in a restaurant, and we're getting up to leave, and I hear Colby, and I turn around and I'm like, what are the odds that I'm in a restaurant in Mexico and somebody... So I turn around and it's Ashley Shasheen from Monroe. I'm like, how in the world? What are you doing here?
Right.
But
I think I may have even run into your father in New York.
I'm sure you have, but it's like all roads lead to Monroe. It's this
a
crazy
gem.
little place. It is.
It's really a gem. It really is. I mean that, and so much sincerity in Northeast Louisiana and West Monroe, and and Ruston and Formable. Those are my communities, and they really, all of them, stand out in my heart for so many reasons. And but living here in Washita Parish, I mean, you can just get anywhere quickly. I have a girlfriend of mine that just moved here from Bozeman.
Wow.
Yeah, she's loving it, loves the community aspect of it. But I guess it also goes down to kind of how you will feel fundamentally, that you like being in a small town, and you like being knowing your neighbor,
Right.
which is really
Being a name and not just a face.
correct.
When you walk in somewhere. You know?
Yeah, and that could be, you know, a nameless face or what have you. I mean, it's just that you said, you know, you may know them just because I'm like, hey, I may need my child picked up from school. Can you help you help a mother out?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, that you can actually do that and feel comfortable. And that individual you ask would be like, I'll move heaven and earth to pick your child up. You know, and they'll get home safe. I mean, so those played in our decision. I mean, I could not have asked my husband to move to Monroe unless he wanted to move to Monroe.
Yes,
I mean, that does not work when one doesn't want to go.
No, it does not. Not at all.
No.
Well, there is so much opportunity surrounding our area. I think Monroe kind of has a spotlight on it right now.
Yes,
and so
yes.
With all of the opportunity that is coming, for young people that are getting out of college or for people that are on the outside looking in, you know, is this a place that I would want to move and raise my family? What would you tell them about planting roots in our area, and what would be the reason to come here as opposed to somewhere else?
Well, I don't like it when I hear that people are moving out.
Right, I don't either.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I think they're misunderstanding what really Monroe has to offer. Monroe has wonderful schools. It has wonderful young leadership. It has great restaurants. It has an adorable zoo. It has a great growing children's museum. It has innovative thinkers. And I'd say, wait, hold up. You know, let's think about, you know, marriage and think about children and schools. Think about all that before you go to a larger city and think it's going to be better.
Right.
Or you're going to make more money. Yeah. You know, you really have to think about the whole picture as opposed to what financially you may think you are going to receive in terms of compensation from from employment. And I would truly sit down and ask them to do a little more research about what Northeast Louisiana, Monroe, Ouachita Parish, Lincoln Parish, Union Parish, whatever parish, Richland Parish has to offer. Yeah. And think about those before you just decide to move. Yeah. I think that's what, and that's what I encourage my son to do. I mean, because he's in that generation that's thinking that way. You never know. I mean, family business, I get that question a lot. Is he going to come back? Is he going to come? You know, I'm like, at 22,
yeah, I
don't know.
And he doesn't know.
And he doesn't know.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. It's really okay.
But I think it's about quality of life, right? I think we've got a great quality of life. And I think
and wonderful, you know, religions. We have every religion to offer.
We've got an airport.
And an airport.
You can travel from here.
You can get to Dallas and Atlanta, and then you can go anywhere. You know, and that's there. Really and truthfully, you just have, like I said, there's so many positives you can't really list them down unless you really had to sit down and start putting it to pen to paper. There's just so much, and so fortunate that I'm 57. I'm grateful to see it. Yeah, I'm really grateful to be part of what all these people have really worked hard to do.
Absolutely. I think it's a great place to live. I'm glad you decided to come back. I'm glad I decided to come back.
Oh, me too. Me too. Never looked back.
Yes, I've never looked back and don't regret it. And I hope that I hope many more will watch this and decide to stay here and to plant roots here in our community and invest in it, because I think it makes a difference, right?
Yeah. My husband loves it. Loves it. Yeah. He's born and raised Flushing, Queens, and he loves it. Loves it.
What's not to love about it, though?
I mean, he just really, after getting over the heat for the first couple of weeks, 22 years ago, he said, I wouldn't look back. Yeah. We made the best decision, and really enjoys the culture, the music. Oh, I mean,
the people.
The people.
People make it.
The people make it.
They do make it.
Yeah, they really do.
They do.
It is. It is. Because, you know, you can have such wonderful relationships here. And friendships and families and family relationships, long-term relationships. I mean, really long-term. Yep. And it makes all the difference in the world. It really does.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I appreciate you telling us your story and just kind of shedding some light on
Thank you.
Kilpatrick Funeral Homes and
Yeah.
where you've been and where you're going. And I can't
Yeah.
wait to see what you guys do in the future.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And you too.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I mean, I'm just going to stand back and watch.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes.